I'd like to say that I've been drinking alcohol all this time. I've just been drinking out of a mug, but I'm not that kind of guy. Hey! Hello, and welcome to the Midlife Gamer Podcast. Today is Sunday, the 6th of December, and my name is Darren Baldock. Joining me at the other end of the intertubes is the gorgeous, handsome, dashing debonair Mr. Matthew Moore. Say hello, Matthew.
Morning, Darren.
Oh, good morning, Matthew. And boy, it's been a while. It's been a while, so let's. We've got loads to talk about, I'm sure. Plenty of stuff we've been up to, and we're in a different world now with new shiny consoles and things. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick back, relax and enjoy episode 298 of the Midlife Gamer Podcast. Woo! Soda Matthew, what's cracking?
Ooh.
Talk to me.
Ooh, we're out of that second there lockdown. Is it back to normal? Can I go out yet?
No, it's not. No, it fucking isn't. So I don't know what it was in your world, but pre-lockdown 2 Electric Boogaloo, I was in a tier 1. Now exiting after a month of dutiful good behaviour for the greater good, now in tier 2. But you know what? It doesn't really impact me that much. And obviously COVID will impact so many different people in so many different ways. I can personally say lockdown's been all right for me. You know, there was a scare partway through the month of November, if I remember rightly, because we communicate internally through various groups, and I remember posters saying, "I've just booked a drive-by test," because I didn't feel good. I felt really, really tired, and I had vertigo, which I don't normally have, and it was persistent as well. So I was getting a little worried, and I was losing my sense of taste, which is obviously one of the key drivers. So you go on to the app, or you go on to NHS 911, whatever it is, 111, and it asks you the questions. As soon as I said loss of sense of taste, it said, right, fuck it, you got to get a test, self-isolate. I went, oh Jesus Christ. But the impact of that was, and thankfully, again, your mileage may vary depending on where you are in the country, but I was able to book a test immediately. So I was on the road within 40 minutes, driving to a drive-in test centre 2.5 miles away, and it was all done very, very, very quickly. In the meantime, I had to notify the good lady. She is office-based. She's in a very sort of secure, COVID-friendly office. So I told her, she had to ring her boss. He said, you've got to go home.
Wow.
You know, there's kind of there's a ripple effect of that just initial, notion that you've got COVID. You've got to kind of draw your immediate family in straight away, the people that you live with, and make sure that they're doing the right things as well. So there was a 48-hour period where I was basically stuck in my office. We weren't coming anywhere near each other, and that was really strange because we've been so.
So is the assumption then that if you believe you need the test and you're booked in and you're waiting for results, you consider yourself positive unless otherwise?
You have to, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Of course.
Self-isolate. But we've gone through this lockdown together since the end of March, and we've been thick as thieves, tight as a tiger. But with that realization that potentially I have COVID, it just changed the dynamic completely. I mean, it was great in some ways because I was getting food brought to me and I was, doing whatever. I thought, oh, maybe I could string this out a little longer. I had half a mind to get the test result and go, I'll just sit on that for another 24 hours because it came through all clear, thank goodness. So we kind of went back to normal, but definitely a wake-up call. You know, and I'm not one of these people that sort of flouts the rules anyway. I've been dead strict with what we've been doing, to the point where we had every intention of that weekend that we went into the second lockdown. You and I were due to record together, and you know, obviously that happened, and you know, so we're going to have to put the man-to-man. The man-to-man action on hold for a little while. We'll revert back to virtual, you know. So yeah, that was an interesting time, mate.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it all went well. Was it uncomfortable, the actual test?
Yeah, but you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it don't really matter, does it? I'm more afraid of getting the jab because I fucking hate needles. I really do. Whenever I go. I have a blood test or anything like that, I have to say, look, I said, when it comes to needles, I said, I'm a complete fanny. All right, I said, you're gonna need to bear with me. I said, the best thing we can do is have a conversation with me, distract me, talk to me about something, anything. I'm gonna look away, but I'm gonna talk to you, but just keep me engaged in a conversation, and that's how we do it. That's how I manage that fear of needles through distraction.
Good.
So
is that how you keep the ball from the door as well?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, the pedestrianisation of Norwich often springs to mind. Frankly, I'm dead against it, though.
Oh,
of course.
Man.
Oh, what's been happening in your world then, my friend?
Well, I guess the big news is the fact that I've, for the first time in a long time, well, the first time ever, I've abstained from alcohol. For 2 months today, and actually, so 2 months yesterday, it popped up on my phone.
Yeah,
and I've never done this before. In my 20-year career of drinking.
It is. You've made a career out of it, haven't you, really? It's a good way of putting it.
And it was just like, so in the past, when I've tried to sort of cut down, I'd be sort of like, I say, okay, well, I'll go from Monday to Thursday, and I would be an absolute miserable shit. I'd be terrible. I'd be like, oh, I can't hang around, I can't chill out, we can't just hang out and chill out properly. So I'd just sort of lock myself in my office and be a miserable sod, and then go, yay, I didn't drink for a bit, and then just get bad on the weekend and carry on.
Yeah, I can get double pissed at the weekend.
Yeah.
I've been a good boy all week. Yeah.
But something kind of clicked, and I utilised a sort of a self-referral service, which I think it's a national thing, and there's one local to us called Turning Point. So they deal with all your addictions, and it's all free, and I'm sure it's all confidential. But of course, it was just as we were coming out of, when things were trying to get back to normal before the second lockdown. So I had a telephone chat with a guy, and then I went down and I spent an hour chatting. And before I went down, I remember looking up. I've got like a whiteboard above and behind my screen with the next 4 weeks on. And as I was sort of talking to him on the phone and thinking to myself, well, you can't. What do you do? How do you do it? Is this guy going to give you all the tools that you need, or do you need to start really considering what that feels like? And I looked up and I was like, okay, well, today's Monday. So obviously I won't be drinking this week, at least until the weekend, because I've done it before, and do you know what I mean? It makes sense. I looked at the weekend and I thought, what we're doing that weekend? I thought, we're not doing anything. Okay. And then there's the next week as well, so I assume that I'd Monday to Thursday. And then what's happening that weekend? We've got a friend coming around, part of our bubble. They're usually busy ones. And I looked at the whole thing and I thought, well, you're never going to get an ideal opportunity where you're not going to be enjoying yourself.
No.
So you've got to just kind of, and that was the sort of the light bulb moment for me. And I went to go and see the guy, and he sort of made a suggestion of, like, we said, well, have you considered maybe abstaining until we next meet again? And I was like, okay, is that a week? He goes, well, it'll be 2 weeks. And then it was in my head, like, 2 weeks.
Of course it was, yes.
But like I say, that was that sort of light bulb moment. So I saw him, and he gave me a breathalyzer the first, and I'd never been breathalyzed before. Obviously, I never considered how it works other than in the films. So he breathalyzed me, and of course this was on the Tuesday, so I'd already had a day without drinking. But I was sort of like, he even said, like, if it was over, then I would ask you to leave your keys here and go and have a coffee until you can blow under. I'm like, Jesus, it is a. I mean, thankfully, when we were going through the sort of the questionnaire, as much as it was like, okay, you've got to be honest and talk about things openly, some of the questions that were being asked, I was like, I don't know what, it could be a lot worse. There are people out there who must really struggle on a much bigger basis than me.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I've never needed alcohol as a crutch. It's never been something that's gotten me through something. But anyway, and doom and gloom aside, like I say, light bulb moment, and I've managed to, going out to the pub, which, I mean, obviously that's kind of made things a little easy, I guess, with lockdown.
Yeah.
But been to the pub a few times, had friends round, done everything, I think. Had the wife's birthday, and I kept thinking, I was like, well, maybe I'll have a drink with her. Because this is the thing I had to realise. It's like, I can't change the world around me. I've got to change.
Yeah.
And I did sort of consider, and I have a few times thinking like, well, when do I next have one? Because I'm not thinking, my headspace isn't like, I'm sober. Because I don't know what success looks like in the long term. All I know is, right now, I'm loving it.
Yeah. What are you now, 60 days?
Yeah. And there's a saving on that. There's a direct financial saving.
Jesus Christ, there is. I mean, I know. So you hooked me up on this quite early on in the process, and we catch up from time to time, and you always send me the progress, and I'm always so proud of you when I see that number just rising, because you're in a challenging environment where there is drink around you, and it's always going to be harder, because the temptation will always be there. But you've stuck to it, and you've really done yourself proud, mate. I've got to tell you, I'm so pleased for you, and I hope long may it continue, because you've got this tracker. Is there any way of linking it to some kind of? You could do this in Excel, mate. If you work out how much you spent on beer a week or a day, you could obviously cut it any way you want. That you could have a running total of how much money you've saved through not drinking alcohol.
Well, according to this, 930 quid.
Fucking hell! There you go, mate. You've just bought yourself a new console.
Haven't I just? A couple of them.
Even at scalper prices.
But you know what? I don't want to turn it into the Jay and Silent Bob podcast where they check in with him each week to see how sober he is, right? But I just wanted to kind of like, that is a big thing in my life, and it has improved so many things. The weirdest thing is, I was like, shit, there's loads of time in the day. Where's all this time in the evening come from?
Yeah, it's always 4:49 or 4:59 somewhere in the world, and I'm still not drinking.
It's great, like little things. Like I noticed this pretty soon. I was like, the Year of Shame guys were like, right, we're going to be streaming at 9 o'clock. And I looked at my watch, it was 6. I was like, I'd love to do that. And I'm like, that's a bit late, that is, though, isn't it? 9 o'clock. I'm like, no, not at all. I'm just getting into things at 9 o'clock.
Oh wow, no, that's brilliant, mate. I really am chuffed to bits, and it's out there in the wider space now. So you've kind of got me and 3 other people that listen to the show who are going to be, wishing you the best and looking out for you. So congratulations, mate. Keep it up.
Thank you. Oh, and it's just me and you here, isn't it?
Yeah, always.
Oh, get closer.
I'm here.
Listen here, guys. Hey, and girls, and you. Listen here, everyone.
Come on.
The sexy time.
Yeah.
Gets better.
Wow.
Gets better.
Are you able to...
No. It gets better for me. Give it a go.
Okay.
Give it a go.
Oh, well, that's all right. Let's look after number 1, mate.
Huh? Number one, look after you.
And looking after number 1 does not mean giving Riker a blowy. All right. He gets plenty of action. I've seen the way he reverse straddles a chair. Takes a guy with a certain amount of spunk to do that.
In them uniforms especially.
Exactly. Future spandex, it's the way forward. Oh, I suppose that leads nicely on to what we've been entertaining ourselves with from a TV and movie perspective. Let's catch up, because I've got a bit of a list. I guess we'll start with the with the big ones that are in my life at the moment. We've got The Mandalorian, and that just gets better and better. I've been watching the because I've got Disney Plus. I've been watching the there's a documentary series which is almost like it's what would you call it? It's a round table of and they feature different people depending on what they're talking about. If they're talking about the actors, they'll have the actors on the round table. But Jon Favreau's always there. He's kind of like the big guy behind it, and it's really interesting to see what they do, how it's made, why they make certain things. And I don't know if you ever seen any footage around this. I can't remember what the environment's called, but basically all of the what would appear to be outdoor shots or set shots are actually in an enclosed set, which is basically it's wall-to-wall LCD displays which goes up over the ceiling as well. And they dragged in the guys from Epic because it's all the level of fidelity they've achieved with graphics now is at the point where, you know, there's almost an uncanny valley, or maybe not an uncanny valley, where you can actually project something onto these LCD screens, and the luminosity of the environment creates that natural lighting. So they're not having to light things manually anymore. They're using the natural light. And particularly with Mando, because he's got shiny armor, they don't have to worry about, you know, CG putting in reflections, etc., etc. It's all the volume. It's called the volume.
Oh, I wonder if that helps the actors as well. Instead of being in a green screen, they can maybe, I don't know, feel like they're a bit more immersed.
Dude, it's so fucking interesting. It's all rigged up to the camera as well. So imagine, most of us that know about video games know that what you see in front of you is kind of your primary rendering space, and what's behind you isn't rendered. Yeah? So it only renders what's in your field of view. So this is how the volume works as well. So as the camera's panning around, and you can see this from an exterior shot of what's actually happening, is that things are being rendered on the fly only to where or in high fidelity where the camera is. It's still retaining some element of rendering to keep continuity in the lighting, etc. But it's fascinating stuff. If you ever get a chance to watch any documentaries around The Mandalorian, it's incredible. It really is.
I mean, I've not watched.
And that we haven't. Well, I'm not going to. Well, I wouldn't spoil anything anyway. But there's been some terrific, let's say, callbacks to tie in with the Star Wars universe.
Right. And was that distracting? Because I always thought that the reason this was kind of more beloved recently is that for some reason it feels like it's unique.
No, yeah, it is unique, and do you know what? It feels more like a Star Wars. Yeah. There's Star Wars out there that people would argue that's not Star Wars. That's not canon. This is canon. You know, Lucas is involved. Thankfully, not to the point where he's ruining everything, but he's definitely involved. He's around. He's on the set, but he's obviously trusting in Favreau and I think it was the other guy, Dave Filoni. But they're doing a cracking job. And the last episode, which was amazing, it was only 33 minutes long. It's one of the shortest episodes I've ever made. But it was directed by Robert Rodriguez, who you'll know from things like Dusk Till Dawn, etc., etc. And I wish I could talk to you about it. I wish that the first thing we do when we jump online together is say, right, before we get into the show, let's talk about the latest Mandalorian. It's that good. It's that good right now.
Wow.
So, yeah. Yeah, then there's Star Trek Discovery. That's in its third season. Enjoying that. Again, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there's some interesting things going on. Well, it's set in the future anyway, but they're in the future. They're in the future.
Okay.
Like the future beyond like next gen, etc., etc. They're way beyond that. So interesting times. What else? Stuff I've been watching with the missus and enjoying. The Crown. Always like a bit of Queen action. Like to see what's going on with the Queen. And obviously it's all true. So and there's no creative license been taken. That's all dead true.
I imagine this does well internationally.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Americans will love this.
They went mad. What was the one in the big house?
With the big house.
Big house. Something Manor? Abbey, Downton.
Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Downton Big House. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that the challenge is that we're a lot closer to it, and we've lived through a lot of the stuff, particularly the last two seasons. But you've got people that probably aren't au fait, even in the UK, that are just catching up on things that happened. So all around Charles and Diana and Camilla, etc. And James Hewitt, there's all that stuff going on. And my concern is that people watch this and think that really fucking happened. Well, it kind of did, but there's a lot of stuff thrown in there to make it a more interesting story. Yeah, I imagine if you did a fly-on-the-wall documentary of the royal family, I'm sure it would create a lot of fascination to begin with, but you'd be tuning out after a couple of weeks. Oh, she's had smoked salmon for lunch again, guys. Is that it? Yeah. Oh, she's petted the dog again. Yeah. Oh, she's ringing a bell. Yeah. Oh, waiter's here again. So it get kind of boring, But you think about the overseas watchers, particularly those that aren't that haven't are unaware of a lot of the stuff that's gone on. They'll be watching that and going, "Jesus Christ, that's fucking terrible," or "That's fucking random." So, you have to go in and understand it, and it's almost you have to go to the internet or you have to go to YouTube to disseminate what actually happened and what didn't, because there's plenty of channels out there that do stuff like that. So, but an amazing show. Watch it from the very beginning. It kind of makes me patriotic. Certainly the first few seasons made me incredibly patriotic because I didn't know what the royal family went through.
Is it all based on current royal family, even from the very start? Or was it back in the hundreds of years ago?
No. It kind of starts with Elizabeth as a child.
Okay.
And what happened. But I could hardly recommend this, even if you're not a royal watcher. And I don't profess to be a royal watcher. I've kind of been, I guess, ambivalent over the years as to I've obviously got involved where important things have happened, like like Diana and etc. But take all that out of the equation. It's well produced, well acted, and it really is a good one. It's a good one.
Bless you, Mom.
And then the last thing I've been watching, which I'm currently in the throes of dealing with at the moment, is I watched something else before that. There's another series on Netflix called Ratched, which is it's a weird one. It's based on, and correct me if I'm wrong here. Have you ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Oh gosh, Ratched, Nurse Ratched.
Yeah. So Nurse Ratched from One Flew.
Is it her origin story?
Yes.
Of how she became a bitch.
Yeah.
Is she nice?
Yeah,
to
it
start
is.
With?
I'll tell you what. It's a great show.
Is it?
It's a great show. It's only about 8 or 9 episodes. Very, very stylishly. From a cinematography point of view, just a really, really interesting tale, and it's all there. It's all there, ready for season 2. But I guess because there's no documented sort of backstory, they could just write in what they want.
Yeah,
it goes some strange places, my friend. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
It gets a little interesting. But definitely the thing I'm watching at the moment I'm thoroughly enjoying is The Queen's Gambit, which again is on Netflix. Young girl, orphan, goes into an orphanage, starts taking interest in chess, and is really fucking good at it. She's some kind of savant, and it's just tracking her story. It's based on a novel from the 80s. So there's some good source material there, but I'm taking an episode down with the good lady every night, and we're really, really enjoying it. And apparently on the back of this, there's been a massive upsurge in people Googling how to play chess, people buying chess sets, etc., etc.
Chessmaster 2000, mate.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, get your chessinator on. I always wanted one of those as a kid. I always wanted a little chess computer.
Is that because you had no mates?
Exactly. It's exactly because it's no. I always have enjoyed solitary activity. Throughout my life. I'm not talking about masturbating here because that's obviously a given. Yeah, all right. So put that to one side. I think solitary activity has always engaged me an awful lot. And it's not that I'm averse to group activity, but key parties aside, I'm all right with either. But there's just something about that solitary activity, particularly in light of COVID, and there's going to be a lot of people that are probably jumping on this solitary bandwagon. And unfortunately, chess is a two-player game and requires a second person. But we've got science, and we've got computers, and we've got apps, and we've got all kinds of good stuff. We've got video cameras, Zoom, Google Meet, whatever, Hangout, whatever it decides to call itself nowadays, Skype. There are ways and means of being able to play games together without having to physically be there in person. And we'll circle back to that conversation a little later on, but that's what I've been watching from a TV perspective. What about you?
No, very little to nothing. Mm-hmm. Still going through The Sopranos. I think we're six or seven episodes from the end. I've seen it through twice. It's the good lady's first time.
And is she enjoying it?
Very much so, but it is. It's hard to watch that show sometimes. They're all it's quite dark and intense. Lots of stuff happens, and those hours feel like an hour. Yeah,
I do recall that some episodes you just think, oh, have they got the B team in here? They've let somebody run with some crazy wild idea, but overall, great show.
Oh, fantastic! Love performances all round.
I'm catching up hard with my Marvel.
Good, I do like the updates. So last time we spoke, had you done Guardians yet, or was that next?
No, I'd done Guardians out of order because they were kind of essential watches. I actually went to the cinema to see Guardians 2. But I think the last time we spoke, I was up to Civil War, or I'd just about to get into Civil War. So took Civil War down. That was good. Then order may be different with this, but Thor Ragnarok. Oh, best fucking film.
I could watch that.
Best Marvel film
all day.
Ever.
All day.
Yeah, all day. Yeah, all day long. It's so
talking
good.
About hamming it up all around. It's fantastic.
But that's Taika Waititi. He's everything he touches seems to turn to gold right now. Still yet to watch the Nazi one. Oh, Jojo Rabbit. Mm-hmm. No, I'm waiting for that to come. I will not deploy scientific methods. I will wait until it legitimately appears. But continuing with the Marvel stuff, Doctor Strange did that. It was all right. Kind of lost me part way through, but kind of redeemed itself in the final act. Black Panther, solid, good movie. No question about it. Really enjoyed it. Particularly in light of Chadwick Boseman no longer being with us, there was a bittersweet moment or two within that film where I just thought, Jesus Christ, man, and then for some bizarre reason, I managed to skip Infinity War Don't ask me how. I don't know. I didn't skip it. I accidentally watched another film out of the order, and that was Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Do you remember the 90s?
Yeah. All I could think about was how they'd managed to de-age Samuel L. Jackson, and I thought it was really good because they'd kind of done that with they'd done that in in Ant-Man. So I know they're no strangers to that, but it's amazing what they can do with technology nowadays, isn't it? You know, just get the Face app, and you could put yourself in a movie or a pop video. You could be a Spice Girl. I know you've always wanted to do that, Matthew.
I know, man.
Which one would you be?
When they came out, or now?
Well, let's say now.
Now, Emma Bunton. She seems lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The girl's doing good.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Marvel. So all I've got left is So the next thing I'm going to watch is Infinity War. I have to watch that. Then it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then I'm on to Endgame.
I think you might be.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you will be.
Yeah.
Spider-Man done that?
Is that part of the MCU though?
Spider-Man with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
You mean when he turned up at the end of Endgame and not Endgame, sorry, Civil War, and is absolutely part of it?
Yeah, I know, but that was almost like they shoot him in, didn't they?
No, he is 100% in it. And double check, I'm pretty sure the first Spider-Man is before that.
All right, I'll look into that. I'm not averse. I'm not averse to a bit of Spidey action, mate.
Good, because you know what? They're really good.
Okay.
They're very good.
I'll trust you. Okay.
Right, exciting.
Movies. More movies? More movies?
As it happens, I watched Wonder Woman. Finished it off this morning.
Oh.
Good film.
Yeah?
Yeah, certainly my favourite of the DCers.
Yeah.
It was the first one, so that was, a couple of years old. And then the second one, the reason I watched it is because that second one's out, I think it's Christmas maybe. And I think it's Warner Brothers are doing day and date streaming to cinema releases. And that I can get behind. I don't mind paying the premium and making sure all the money goes to the right place, so long as I've got that instant access. That to me works. It price obviously depending. I don't want to be paying cinema prices, but yeah, I could get behind that.
Do we know if there is a solution for that in the UK? Because I've seen headlines, something HBO Max.
Oh, isn't maybe it's okay? As for its regionality, don't know, but it's a thing. It's a thing. I'd like that.
Yeah, thing you can get behind.
Yeah,
good man. All right. So, what about other things in life? Anything interesting to talk about?
No, mate. I don't know. I don't think so. It's just been busy, double busy.
Yeah. Anything on the new console front?
No. I think if I was to get anything, it would. So I'm still in that headspace where I've just found that there's another reason for me to not put my PlayStation 4 away yet, which is Death Stranding. I'll mention it in a bit. My PS4 keeps on giving, and my PC keeps letting me play the majority of all the games. Well enough for my liking.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's great.
Yeah.
It's great that there are new consoles out there.
That controller on the PlayStation 5, I'd love to give that a go.
Yeah. All right, talk to me like I haven't got a clue what's special about that controller.
Do you remember when they bought? So Rumble was cool. I remember. Do you remember when you got the Xbox One before me, and I came around and I played Forza, and it was the first time I'd experienced the analog, the range of vibration in the trigger. So when I was going over the apex, is that the apex, the red and white bit on the side, and you could feel it, and you would feel the resistance to the throttle and that sort of stuff. From what I understand, is it haptic feedback? It's like the whole controller kind of does its shit together. So there's the built-in game, which is like shows it off nicely. So yeah, either way, it's just like I like a bit of innovation. Why not? It's better than just a trackpad.
If you play any game with just a trackpad, there's something wrong. Unless it's Solitaire.
I've been playing Solitaire like a madman, dude.
Really?
Yeah, but before we talk about games, I honestly cannot think of anything to mind. I'm bursting to talk about games. But
I know you are, and I guess that brings us nicely to a natural break in the proceedings. So let's take a moment to recover and replenish our non-alcoholic beverages, and we'll be right back. And we're back. That was all right, wasn't it?
I don't know. I've not heard it yet.
Nor me. Normally have these things teed up well in advance, but it's not. Time's gone against me today, so we'll see. I'll make sure it's a good one. All right,
Banger.
A banger, an absolute banger. Yes, absolutely. So okay, video games.
Okay.
Let's talk. This is where you get to speak a lot, and I just listen.
All right. Last time we spoke, Ghost of Tsushima was my recent jam.
Yep.
That is a great game. PlayStation 4 exclusive. Absolutely fantastic. It reminds me like it's just kind of like you're Assassin's Creedy, open worldy, stealthy, give you so many options when it comes to combat. And a real good challenge all the way through. A great excuse to go and get all the collectibles on the map. Always a good, solid gameplay advancement reason to be doing it. And yeah, satisfying. Really, really enjoyed it, and it was good timing. So by the time I'd finished that game, they just were just about to drop the 1.1 expansion, which brings in a multiplayer element to that. And they are it started off. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 different levels, which all sort of play the same. It's a bit like Dynasty Warriors, I guess. Then you just got 4 of you, and you can choose a class, and the classes are sort of slimmed down, almost specialized and limited versions of the full experience of the game. Obviously, to play with the weaknesses and strengths of them as a team. And it's just like a base defense against AI with and you can see the progress in there. You can see you're getting new weapons, and then I guess as well as the numbers going up with the next weapon, it's all, if it's a different weapon type, it's like, okay, well, was I better at these types of swords or these types? So there's obviously there was thought into how you progressed. I wasn't seeing a fat lot of, and I don't see a lot of this. And I guess this is the bit that it's difficult to get right unless you've been around a long time, is cosmetics. It almost feels like they probably are the easier thing to get right because it's just cosmetic. But sometimes that's what tells you apart from a different game. So that wasn't in there yet. There was so much grinding, it seemed to be, you'd have to do in order to take on a raid that also came out. So I kind of played around, didn't play in with anyone that I knew. I sort of went in there with randoms. Had a bit more fun with it. It extended the life a little more. Will it blow everyone's socks off? I doubt it. But again, it was perfect time, and it was just a bit more of that game for the best price ever. Nothing.
Oh, the best price, my friend.
Best...
So what's so the actual game itself? Is it one of these games where you start as a weak person? Is there a progression? Is there an unlock path of better? Is it better gear or better skills? Talk to me. I want to understand what that arc looks like.
Okay. Well, the answer to that is yeah. It forces you. So you, from a sword fighting point of view, you are relying a lot on dodge and parrying. That as a defensive system, both of those have their own upgrade paths to make them either easier or your timing to get a perfect parry extended if that was the way that you were dealing with encounters. But there are, before you get into combat, you do get an opportunity to stealth your way into a camp, and the things like the how it translates line of sight, how it translates last place you were detected, all works very well. Always in a very minimalistic way as well. It's not UI heavy, but you feel like you know what's going on. And like I say, when you do start to unlock the advancements, I mean, you do have to start to think about when shit gets real and you're fighting. There are sort of like enemies are broken up into 4 different types, and then you have 4 stances. So you have to sort of stop and go, okay, I'm going to focus on the shield guy, so I will slow time with this button and flick over to this stance, and it's a visually different stance. Works differently, but is more proficient against the shield guy, and then each of them have their own upgrade paths. And the story itself is relatively interesting because you're a samurai, you're supposed to be honorable, so the concept of you doing anything stealthy whatsoever is a bit of a no-no. So there is the concept of the ghost element part to your not just who you are as the character Jin, but also as a gaming mechanic, and then also the fantastically entertaining sword fight samurai stuff.
Good.
Yeah, real good stuff. And it looks beautiful. The I still saw when it could sort of got some playtime again after that patch. People were still posting pictures on there, and I think as far as games getting a bit of upgrade treatment on new consoles, that's one of those PlayStation 4 exclusives that might at least load better. Tell you what, load times of that were great. There's nothing better than when you get such a good load time that you can fuck up something and just go, do you know what, I'll just reload to the last checkpoint. It was easier for me to reload to that checkpoint than walking to it, even though I can see it. Brilliant. Love it.
Wow. Great stuff.
All right, so I wanted to talk about, I had to kind of entertain a 9-year-old for a bit.
All right.
who's into games himself and owns an Xbox, but he plays Fortnite all the time. I'm like, right, it's coming around here. He's been around a few times in the past, and I'll always make sure I download age-appropriate titles. Yeah. So to make sure that I was getting Fortnite and it was all updated, and he was into Fall Guys, which you may have heard of.
Yes, I have. I'm aware of that.
So because this was after the first time I booted up for a while, I didn't get it for free, or it was no longer free, so I had to pay for that to get that downloaded. So I got to experience, I got to see those games through the eyes of a 9-year-old. The biggest takeaway I took from the whole thing is not an appreciation, almost, I don't know if it's an expectation or just due to what he's grown up with, but he booted up Burnout Paradise. He'd played that before.
Yeah. And
he went to the garage and it had the word new against a bunch of cars. And he said, "Oh, are these like daily updates?" I said, "No, they're just cars that I unlocked through the progress and haven't played." He goes, "Oh, okay." I'm like, everything, if it says new, it probably turned up today.
Yeah, there's an immediacy, isn't there, about they want content, new content so quickly. It must be a real challenge for the developers out there.
What do you want?
Yeah. Jesus.
But that actually kind of came around in a very kind of a proud big brother way when he booted up Fortnite, and he was like laughing at all my bullshit, my basic tune, and he goes, wow, you've got like a season 2 emote. You must have played this once. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I must have booted it up once and went, all right. But because of that, I had a system, a season 2 thing that he'd never seen before.
Oh, so I guess they limit the availability of a lot of their stuff. So, okay, yeah, I can relate to that. That'd be like World of Tanks. Some of that stuff, it's only available for a short period of time, and then if you got it, great. If not, then you can bring it out 5 years down the line, and people go, "Whoa, dude, you've got this tank."
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
And keeping on the battle royale tip. So this is kind of I was dipping my toe with that iOS title we were playing, but now I'm kind of I'm embracing the good stuff. So I didn't play, but I watched Fortnite. All right, there was no reason I was going to attempt that. Not in front of a 9-year-old anyway. Got to make him think I'm awesome still.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I got on with the latest big one, which is I've been meaning to for a while because it is a free element to the previous Call of Duty experience. So this is the Warzone download and update you can get. And the reason I picked it up is Digi and a bunch of the guys were sorting out private servers, and I think to do that you need to get 32 people together, which is no mean feat. But it was kind of fascinating. Sat there in this epic lobby. And people come like jumping in and out to see what the numbers are like, and they're all like, "Well, I've got 4 people to bring with me as well, and I've got 2 people in the wings. We're doing like trios at the moment, so we'll all come and join you when you've got that second elusive person." But I think what I will take away from that is the fact that my computer could run it. I was happy about that.
Yeah, you were.
I was happy about that, and also blown away, absolutely blown away. It's finally here, and it has been for a while. First time I've seen it properly. Cross-platform play is really a game changer.
Yeah.
100% game changer. And I think that's why we're able to pull so many people together. Honestly, it works seamlessly. I mean, I wasn't controlling the parties. I'm assuming you have to rely on the... And we were relying on the in-game options, because obviously you can't go system level, because
No.
and you see that when you're looking at the scoreboards or the lobby and who the people are, it's just got the icon. It's either like PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and it's
Okay,
everything else is just out of it.
So there's a visual representation of what platform they're rocking the game on, which is fine. So you just said there PC. What was it? PC, PlayStation, Xbox.
Yes.
Okay, that's brilliant. That really is good. And if I'm talking as if like this is a whole new world to me, it kind of is. You know, let's be clear. You know, people who've listened to this show for long enough know that my finger on the pulse of console gaming is nowhere near the level that it used to be. So I kind of absorb a lot of stuff through osmosis, and you know, I hear things about cross-platform. But if somebody said to me, right, what are the top cross-platform games right now? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you at all. I'd have to go and ask my computer. You know.
Yeah.
So no, that's really good, mate.
Yeah, and the more I remember, I think it's Phil Spencer who heads up the Xbox division these days. He said on a Giant Bomb sofa sit down after an E3 that he, from his point of view, is that he doesn't want to have to care if Grandma buys you the blue box or the green box. You still get to play with your friends. That's
what it's about, mate. You know, we've seen. You know, whenever new consoles get released, we do get the resurgence of the kind of the fanboy conversations, you know. And I'd like to think we'll reach a stage at some point where it all goes away.
Dude, we just had a generational console release. Did you look at the internet?
Yes,
I
did.
It's still there.
Yes, I did, and it still drives me. It doesn't drive me, it crazes me. It just makes me sigh. It makes me sigh with disappointment, because, you know, there is absolutely no need for that level of loyalty to a company that makes a piece of electronic equipment that sits under your TV
and don't give a shit about you.
And they don't give a shit about you, and they are, and you've got people out there kind of defending it with their life, and there's no rationale.
Is it a justification for purchase, for spending that money? There must be an element of that.
There must be, yeah. I think they're seeking some kind of validation.
Yeah.
But okay, let me spin this a different way. Okay, when PC gamers talk about games, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about the hardware that's sat underneath. Everyone's talking about the game itself, because there are so many different combinations out there of how PCs are put together. And if somebody says, "Oh yeah, I'm rocking the the Nvidia GTX 980, shove it up your arse and it'll vibrate for 3 days on 0 power loss while mining Bitcoin," you'll go, "Oh, that's cool." And it will be. It literally be, "Oh, that's really cool." And that's where I think there's a mindset which is around, well, you're limited to this single piece of hardware. You can't upgrade it. You can't make it better. You're stuck with what you've got. So you have no control over the improvement of it. So your frustration is almost amplified when somebody says, "Well, my standard piece of kit is better than yours." And I can relate this. I haven't even spoken about the fucking 3D printer I've just bought. Okay? I haven't even spoken about that. So I will talk about it later. But even then, I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, well, my printer's better than the other printer." You know, because there's so much modification that can be done. It's almost like your focus is elsewhere. Your focus isn't on defending the item you've got. You're more interested in, well, how can I make it better? How can I make it do what I want it to do? Whereas with consoles that sit on your TV, you get what you're given and you're stuck with what you've got. Now, the interesting question I would put forward is, let's jump forward 5 years and let's go to the next round of console releases. What if it was more of a modular thing, like a PC, and you could buy this chip, that chip, the other chip, and you could buy this drive, that drive, the other drive, and imagine the different combinations, and it would basically be, well, you take that out and you plug that in, and it's 0.05% better. I guarantee you there would be far less childish conversations around one being better than the other, because everyone's got a different one to a certain degree. There'd be that much variation out in the space that we wouldn't be caring. You'd be saying, oh, well, I'm rocking this, and this, and things are running great. And you go, oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm going to look into that. I might do the same. Not, fuck you, I'm a child. Try. What? Be a fanboy. Try and tell me that one console's better than another. Go on, try it.
The PlayStation can output at a greater fidelity if it's in performance mode.
Who cares?
Me.
Stop it. You're a child. You're being a child. Stop it.
Well,
don't be a child.
But I care about it.
So what? So why are you bashing the choice I've made?
Because it's better for me.
You're a fucking child. Shut up.
But
keep going.
But
stop. No, you're being a child. Stop it.
Well, mine must be better.
You're a child.
I spent more money on it.
You're a child. You are a child. We had these conversations when we were 12, and we were fighting over, Commodore 64s and Spectrums, and we were fighting about Atari STs and Amigas. All right, and we were passionate about that because, again, we were bought into something, and we were trying to justify a purchase or justify a parent's purchase. The minute we started getting PCs or something that added an element of variability, we kind of stopped caring. We were more focusing on our own shit, on our own story, and nothing else really mattered. I know I've kind of gone off piste a little bit here, but it just occurred to me the other day that as soon as you introduce a massive amount of variability and upgradability, the argument goes away because you have control over how good your gear is.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you go to a like a car meet or something, and you've got 10 Ford Sierra Cosworths next to each other that have all been individually done something to, you can sit there and judge which one you think is better or can turn a corner better, but no one's there going like, I've got the best car, you're a bunch of losers.
But those people respect and admire the craft and the dedication to taking a stock vehicle and improving it and tweaking it and changing it. So nobody's saying the Cosworth's better than the Nissan Skyline, whatever. They're all in their own niches and going, oh well, I appreciate the level of dedication that's gone into improving that or changing it. So stop being a fucking child.
All right.
Not you. I'm talking to the internet now. Grow the fuck up. All right. Stop it. Stop being a child.
All right.
What else have you been playing?
All right. Well, the last of the battle royales, unexpected battle royale, is Worms Rumble.
Oh yeah.
Team 17 still making Worms games. That makes me feel old and good in equal measures.
It's an evergreen franchise, isn't it?
And it looks like they've decided, let's take a new spin on it. What's hot? Battle Royale's hot. Let's do that. And it took me until actually loading it up, not actually putting two and two together, and it's called Royale for a reason. I expected a Worms game.
Yeah.
And I got this. And it turns out that I really needed this in my life. Super good.
What made it so good?
It took a while to get, but it does. It's Worms. They've got Worms right. I mean, if you're gonna, you may as well be Team 17 because that's what you carry on doing what you do.
Yeah.
Small things which I picked up, such as, so it's a 2D, looks great. The 2D control system, very vertical, big levels. You can navigate very quickly. You still sort of walk kind of slow like you do, but the entire game is fast paced. It's a dual stick shooter. Sorry, essentially. So you're dual stick shooting it from a character point of view in real time. There's a deathmatch mode, and then there's a couple of royale modes. It's either everyone from self or teams. So just from a getting around point of view, you have 2 weapons at any one time. You start with a weapon. It's either like the shotgun or the assault rifle or one of the pistols. The game does a real good job of whenever you get to a chest and you can open the chest, stuff will pop out. There's no crazy management of that. If you've only got one weapon, it'll auto pick up one of the weapons. And then really, when you sort of stop and start to pay attention, there aren't that many weapons in there. Some of them are classed as throwable, such as your grenade or your holy hand grenade or the banana bomb. I think the sheeps are in there. Other things are sort of counting as traversal. So there's the jetpack, there's the zip line, I think, or something like that. And then there are your weapons, which you have 2 of. So like I said, there's those few. There was the bazooka, hammerhead. You always have a baseball bat with you, which you can hit projectiles back with or just smash your way through the levels. But to help with that moving around and traversal, you have you can jump up and stick to a wall, but that has a little meter to it, so you have to be quick if you're trying to get away from someone or move around the map. But you can also just roll. You hold the trigger and you just start rolling really like a critter, actually quite quickly, and you can activate that mid jump, and you can really, when you realise that is a way. If you need to get out of dodge, you can just fucking turn away from the enemy and just bounce and try and get out of there because you have regenerating health. One of the reasons why I think it's so Worms, and this is what hit me, is that I got a rocket launcher and I did a direct hit on the worm. And again, it's just a real-time dual joystick shooter. It did 50 damage. I mean, of course it did 50 damage. A rocket launcher always does a direct hit of 50 damage. It's Worms. And when that hit, I'm like... Okay, I can now put the numbers in my head because visually it's a lot to take in, particularly if you go in going, worms, 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 like I was, singing the good song.
Is that actually a song?
More than likely on the internet.
Okay, I'd like to hear that.
So, this is currently free on the PlayStation Network. I'm unsure where else it is. I've not played it before.
I believe it's on Steam. I believe.
Are you looking online?
I am. I'm asking my computer. My computer's going to tell me. There's Worms Rumble. Is that not the same thing?
Yes, the same thing.
Oh, it is the same thing. Yeah. Cross-platform multiplayer.
Hey, it's the future.
There you go. It is the future. May be available on other consoles. PS4, I know, because it's telling me. Computers are great. You just ask them stuff, and it just says, "Yeah, here we go." Yeah, Worms Rumble. Go get it.
Yeah,
sounds like fun.
I know that Spinky's set up an event this week. Probably by the time you're listening to this, it will be over. If it's successful, we'll do more. I've only played with randoms, like I say. Not too sure how elegant it's going to be, bringing us all together to play together. It does have a nice little, a very well thought out progression. So each, because I wouldn't suggest it's got quite a hard to understand training level to it. Then it has a team deathmatch which is timed and you can respawn. So absolutely play around with that until you feel comfortable with the controls. But then you can totally go ahead and play either teams or solo. King of the Hill, not King of the Hill, so it's called Battle Royale, Last Man Standing.
No, it looks good, mate. I'm on the Team 17 site right now, so yes, I can confirm it's available for PlayStation and Windows.
Get on it. I'm looking forward to playing more of that.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to wrap up quickly. I started playing Skyrim, and I've been wanting to play Skyrim for fucking ages.
Whoa. Stop a moment. All right, so you've never played Skyrim?
I had it on the 360 and I played it as far as I got the first shout.
The first radar, yeah.
And I think that was about it.
Okay.
And I've been
So what are you playing it on now?
On the PC.
Okay.
I bought it on Steam. I know that a deal was done to bring those games to the Xbox service. The premium service I'm paying for, but nothing I can find tells me when. and I kept wanting to play it, and I kept thinking like, it's probably really good on the PC as well, and it was on sale during Black Friday. It was just like a tenner. It was a tenner. There you go. It's the full balls deep edition. Go and get it. I thought, yeah, man, fucking getting this, getting it. And for the first time ever, it's like, again, living in the future for me, I've been able to play with mods.
Oh, yes, of course.
And as soon as I saw that, and it's all in menu, it's all in game. I'm not copying files. I'm not worried. There's not a great way of finding them, but the ones that it surfaced to me in game was like, right, well, here's a big one. It's just like a great enhancement experience to the game. I'm like, oh, well, I'll have that. Yeah. There's another one which is character AIs are a bit more realistic. Fuck it, I'll have that. And then you could see some late game stuff, or I don't know if people were going as far as almost creating stories within the existing world, or building their own worlds or towns or campfires or small things to bring into your game. So I just went live with them too, and it was like achievements to be turned off. I was like, "You're all right, fella. You're all right.
I'm all right. I'm good.
I'll live. And yeah, I think I put about 6 hours into it. And I made sure to sit. I was like, the reason I wanted to play it is I wanted something which was, I wanted Western high fantasy with a good story to it. And I know that has a good story. It got enough awards, and people were gushing about it at the time. It looks great. It was kind of great at the time with it. I remember the systems when it comes to getting into your equipment and your magic, but also loving that fact that you get better by doing something. So you'll just throw some heavy armor on just for the hell of it, just to get some points in heavy armor, which give you just greater progress towards your overall level.
Sure.
Sure. But I've already got that mentality where I'm like, oh, brilliant! I did the thing that Matty always does, which is like, yeah, I'm going to be a badass wizard, and I'll spend an hour and a half creating my badass wizard female character, and I'll get in there and I'll be like, oh man, magic sucks in these games.
I thought you were going to just re-roll your character after the first couple of hours. Have you done that yet?
No, and I'm not going to, because really all I specified, the only thing that I specialised in, I guess, forever was my race. Everything else is kind of changeable. And I think from a race point of view, it gave me a default addition to magic. So I'm like, well, do you know what? Maybe magic's down the line. But also, there's just stuff. That game is just so good at just go and have a wander. Something will happen. You'll stumble across something. Before you know it, you're a couple of hours down this weird little rabbit hole, reading fucking books, flipping through books, even though you're not reading them, because you know it might put your reading skill up. Walking around everywhere crouched down, because it'll probably put your sneaking up a little bit.
Oh, that's brilliant. So how many hours you logged so far?
Just 6, I think. But it did start. I think it surfaced the Dark Brotherhood storyline to me, so I'm going to follow that because I remember hearing good things about it. So I'm gonna go down that way. It's very much my weekend game.
Yeah.
It's certainly now. I mean, we're in as more as we have been. It's getting colder out there. It's my dogs have walked. Dinner's in my new big old steel, very heavy crock pot that I got.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a couple of hours just headphones on, and those ambient sounds, it did state on the PC on the storefront that this is an enhanced version.
Yeah. Already,
so I don't know how much that mod did to it. I thought about doing it before and after, but I thought it doesn't matter.
Life's too short, mate.
Your old eyes won't be able to tell the fucking difference. So even if I don't play that again, I kind of, even if it came free to Xbox when I was waiting for it and wanted it, I'd have still played maybe 6 hours of it and thought great. Yeah. And I've played 6 hours of it now and thought great, but I've also got it. I've also got it, so it's there. So I'm happy about that, and I will. And I think that high fantasy, I've missed a bit of that in my life, I think. Yeah. Really have.
Yeah. If you're like me, you go through phases where your desires and needs kind of change. So you're at that high fantasy kind of stage at the moment. At some point you're going to be jonesing for some futuristic sci-fi sort of, Mass Effect remaster. Hey, I look at the internet and my computer told me that there's something Mass Effect.
Yeah.
And then you'll go, oh, okay, I want something a little gritty, more maybe futuristic, but a little more grounded in reality. Hey, Metal Gear Solid something.
Did you say grounded in reality?
Well, a little more. A little more. But no, that's really cool, mate. I mean, considering the age of Skyrim, that has... Does it still stand up? Compared to, I mean, obviously you've played some really stellar games since since that was released.
I'll tell you what, the answer must be yes, and I can tell you, I can give you also a very recent example of the opposite of that. So I came off Ghost of Tsushima, right? Very, very recent game, doing all that dead well. They had a sale on the PlayStation. I picked up the Star Wars Demon Souls game.
Yeah.
And obviously, its forte is not necessarily just about hand-to-hand combat. But I started playing it. I'm like, no, I've literally just played an exceptionally better version of this. I can't force myself through it. Whereas with this, as soon as I picked it up, bang, brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Oh, speaking of Demon Souls, I mean, obviously we've got a good connection with this game because we were playing it before it came out over here.
We were there, man.
We were there right at the beginning, man, in the zeitgeist. But knowing what I know and the amount of hours I sunk into that game, when the PS5 version and people started, putting their playthroughs on YouTube, I thought I want to go and have a look, see how it's moved on, and oh wow, it looks amazing. It looks amazing. So if you were to hold a gun to my head now and say, right, you've got to choose one console, I'm not choosing a console because it's better, because I believe that there's such a blurred line between the two of them now. I would go with the PS5 purely for Demon Souls.
Yeah. All right, there's one last thing I want to ask you a question.
Go for it.
Do you have any kind of subscription to Microsoft Gaming at all anymore?
No, I have no subscriptions apart from the Switch Online, which is like 18 quid a year or something like that.
Oh, good price. Hell of a price.
That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I've got I believe I have the Balls Deepable Xbox version of that in order for me to use the PC. I think that's how it works. Either way, it costs me, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 quid a month, probably.
Yeah.
What are some classic Microsoft, particularly bearing in mind I've got the Windows version, games would you think would be part of that package?
Age of Booty.
Age of Booty? I think I did check after a conversation. Unfortunately, it wasn't. I'm thinking old school, even older than that.
Older than that?
Windows based as well. Real Windows classic banger.
Oh, give me a clue. Because you're obviously alluding to something that you've picked up on.
No. I'm alluding to the fact that I wanted to play Solitaire.
Oh, right, okay.
All right, I wanted to play Solitaire. I was like, right, sometimes I'll play FTL, sometimes I'll play Peggle. It's my second screen jam, man.
Yeah, of course it is.
So I thought, fucking Solitaire, man, let's take it back. It's either that or Mahjong. It was one of the two.
Or Minesweeper.
Well, never understood that one. Never worked it out. So I went, I'll do it now. Start SOL, Microsoft Solitaire Collection. Right. Sure enough, part of the Windows install is Solitaire. It's free to play.
Okay.
It's full of adverts.
Oh.
If you want, you can remove ads everywhere. You can have 5 years of daily challenges plus 2 times coins. Yeah. And you get access to the retro card pack bundle. Now that boils my piss straight away. Care to give? If I wanted to pay that and forget about it a month, right?
Yeah.
That would cost me £1.69. Or the best value per year, 12.5 quid. 12.5 quid to remove all the ads from Solitaire. Annoyingly,
so this is something that's been free in every OS release as far back as I can remember, and now they're monetizing it, and it looks like they're they're cynically monetizing it.
I mean, if Xbox is now the gaming brand across all platforms, who the fuck has got this legacy contract or fucking solution to play these fucking games? I mean, like, add it to. I mean, it's been tied up. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a goddamn monetized experience. Frustratingly as well, you can't even change the packs unless you get a certain level. I just hit level 10 on the classic, you know how to play solitaire mode. And, oh, brilliant, you can have another set of packs. I'm like, a single other deck? We used to get them all for free. They used to be fucking animated. Do you remember that one in the castle with the bats all flying in towards the moon? Animated ones for free. And I just read it. Access to retro card pack bundle. I'm almost tempted to pay £1.69 just to see if it's fucking animated anymore.
The question I have that is on everyone's lips is, when you complete it, does the card bounce around the screen and leave a trail? It
does, but it's simulated and slow. It's not going by the performance of your PC. Again, it's a funny. The fact that you type in SOL and it's called the Microsoft Solitaire Collection screams to me, who's got control of this? Who does this live? If it doesn't live under the Xbox banner, does it live under the Windows banner? Maybe it must do, and they must have always held on to that. Go no. But because I'm pretty sure Minesweeper isn't on there. Yeah, Minecraft's on there if you search for mine.
I don't know. This is what happens. This is 2020, my friend. It's a fucking garbage fire, and you've just hit me over the edge.
Is that it? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I've had enough. 2021 can't come soon enough, but I suspect that won't be much better than 2020, truth be told, because we'll have our own set of fun and games to have. Wow. Okay, don't leave me on a downer with video games.
Well, I was going to talk to you about...
Bring it back.
I was going to talk about Hades, but I don't know if you... I wasn't going to talk about it, but then I thought, you've played Hades, haven't you?
I did. I did the classic. I played it solidly for an hour, and I hit you up. I said, dude, you've got to play this. It's fucking ace. And I haven't played it since.
Yeah, there you go. I've been putting in the time for both of us then.
Yeah, you have.
Nah,
yeah, you have.
Good game. Good roguelike. Very good roguelike. By the guys, gosh, I forgot the name now. Bastion, Transistor,
yeah.
Supergiant Games.
Yeah.
Similar approach. I didn't play the third game they played, but similar isometric look as the other two aforementioned games of theirs. I think it's a good roguelike. I'm enjoying the roguelike elements of it. I've gone down some rabbit holes and I've seen it opens up exponentially, which is good. Yeah. So many things, like as soon as I see something on YouTube that says 5 things I wish I knew when I first started playing this, I'll fucking watch the hell out of that. Love it.
I'd watch that before because to be fair, I could probably re-roll for the amount of time I've spent. But one of the things that struck me, I don't mean to interrupt your flow, but I need to get this out there, is that I struggled with understanding all of the different things that were available to you and upgrade paths, etc., etc., etc. I love the concept. I love the way there's characters being introduced to you, and you think, yeah, that's really cool. But then I'm kind of, at the same time, I'm thinking, well, what does this do? How is this a good thing? I sense it's a good thing, but I don't know exactly how. I'm having to look. I'm having to learn a little too much. I've never wanted anything to be handed to me on a plate, but I would have expected a little more guidance around. Right, well, these are all the tabs in your options. This is what you do. This is why it's a good thing. This is what potentially could go badly. Sorry, rant over, but yeah, I really liked it for the time I played it.
But I will agree with you, and it doesn't get. It starts to make things a little more obvious, and it is all about going to talk to all the people, and of course you do your loops, so you go and talk to them again. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not there. All the characters turn up as you start to play more. They start to explain a story to you, and this is the reason why I'm not gushing over it like I did with Bastion and Transistor, because the way that the story's told in a non-narrative fashion through this loop, and maybe I'm not always talking to the right people, or I don't feel like I'm talking to the right people. I'm not confident that I'm doing it in the right order. I'm struggling to feel that story more than I would if they did it in a narrative setting, which is fine. It's what you have to do, and they are doing it for what seems to be a very successful roguelike. I know that. Have you got it on the? I imagine you got it on the Switch.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, and Spinky was raving about it, and he was like, he finished on his 33rd run. I mean, that kind of gave me, I was like, well, I've got to start playing this now, haven't I? And I've got to what I believe to be the last boss a couple of times. I'm past 33 because you do have luck on your side when it comes to how your build will complete by the end.
Yeah.
And again, the synergies between them and some of those videos that I've been watching and rabbit holes I've been down, there's a lot that isn't explained. And sometimes you're in the mood for that, sometimes you're not. And they're looking at menus of configuration that I've not even seen yet.
Yeah.
And oodles and oodles of currencies that they're probably just not even able to spend yet, or having to do different things. And I'm thinking, Jesus. And I think on the back of it, I did try jumping into Rogue Legacy 2 again, but there's still no updates on that. So I'm kind of like,
right.
I wish there was, because I was enjoying playing that. So for the first time, I'm feeling that negative aspect of getting in that early. Yeah. Even though I didn't feel early, it's not like I'm finding any bugs, but I'm like, I want to play Rogue Legacy 2. I've got that. I'm like, well, you haven't. you kind of have, and you kind of haven't. It is better than no Legacy 2.
Of course.
But it's not Legacy 2 yet.
Yeah. Good stuff, mate.
Hey, that's got to be my talking and gaming. It's got to be. Yeah,
I think we've exhausted all things digital. I'd love to be able to speak more, but I've been in kind of a kind of analog world. But there's some interesting things around the analog world I can talk about. So, I've got a bit of a thing with Magic: The Gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of fallen away a little bit, for one reason or another. It's definitely one of those. It's one of those games that will always be with me. And if somebody pulled a deck out now and said, "Right, let's throw down," I'll be like, "Yeah, absolutely." But there were some frustrations with that, with the game, and I could probably talk for an hour about the frustrations I have with their model and how they do things. They're churning things out at such a rate at the moment. They're wringing the well dry, which is kind of sad. They've just released a set of lands that are Bob Ross themed, so which is fucking great. But if you stack that up with everything else that they've released, they're just I don't know if it's a Hasbro thing or whatever, but they're just churning things out at such a rate, and they are charging a ridiculous amount of money because they know that if they can make something truly rare and special and throttle the availability of it, that they can get away with charging X, Y, and Z. And I kind of reached a point where I thought, for me, they kind of lost sight of what's important about that game, which is actually just people sat across from each other, just playing a game and enjoying it. And particularly with the online stuff, I've not played the online version of the game for a good while either, because it sounds like they're monetizing the ass out of it. So yeah, I've been on the lookout. Well, not necessarily on the lookout, but there was a hole in my life where I thought, CCGs, maybe they're not for me. And then COVID comes along, and that kind of strips away, to all intents and purposes, any opportunity for me to physically sit and play a game, a good card game with somebody else. And then I started hearing about a game called Flesh and Blood. So Flesh and Blood has been in development for around 7 years. It's made by a company called Legend Story Studios, and they're based out of New Zealand. Now, they developed a collectible card game, and they launched it in New Zealand and obviously spread out to Australia because it's the same locality. And this was back in 2019. And this has exploded over in that part of the world. Even with COVID coming along, you go into any bricks and mortar game store, people are playing Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood is I guess if we take a top-down view, it's a card game, 1 versus 1 primarily, although you can play with multiple players. But you are a character. You build a deck of cards, which is effectively your moves and the things that you do. The fundamental difference between this and Magic is that with Magic you need mana. You need mana in order to spend, and if you don't draw enough mana early on in the game, because you can only put one mana down every turn, then you you're mana screwed. That's what they call it. With these cards, they have a dual use. So each card that you have in your hand, because you draw, let's say, 4 cards into your hand at the end of every turn. Each card has a dual use. You can either use it to pay its cost in order to play it, or you can use it as a pitch value, where you pitch a card that it creates a little pot of resource to spend. So there's a very interesting decision made. I've got a really good card, I can play it now, but I don't have enough to pay for it, but I could pitch it because it's worth more for its pitch value. And the thing is, with every card that you pitch, at the end of your turn, it goes to the bottom of your deck, so you don't lose it.
Okay.
It goes to the bottom of the deck. So I took a bit of an interest in this, and I kind of got involved and really, really enjoyed the game. I still do. To the point where I bought a couple of booster boxes and had a few spare cards. So I got hold of Darren, who's my good buddy who I've played board games with, and then COVID came along and we couldn't play board games together anymore. And I thought, if we think hard enough about this is a game that we could play together. So I grabbed a load of cards, got him a starter deck from the local LGS, almost like an intro deck, and I sent them to him in the post. And I said, right, get involved, go and read up about this game. Let's see if we can do something together. So we got this crazy setup where I've got my mobile phone on a kind of Gorilla Grip tripod attached to the top of my monitor. So that's running Google Meet. Then I've got my main PC, which is running Google Meet for my face and my voice. My camera's looking down onto my desktop, where I've got a playmat out with all the cards. Darren's doing exactly the same, and we're playing a card game against each other with physical cards, but not being in the same place. Now, I'm sure there's people out there all over the place doing this, but I just thought this blew my mind, the fact I was able to orchestrate and do this, because there's no interaction. Nobody's taking cards from the other person. It's literally, you've got your cards in front of you. Darren can see what I'm playing, I can see what Darren's playing, and we're reacting. And there is a lot of interaction when combat happens. There's like this chain that starts to happen, but we're talking through it and we're laying cards down, and it really is a fantastic experience.
So does that mean that you're not once you start, you're not drawing additional cards from a deck?
I have a deck, and you have a limit on how many cards you can hold how many cards you can draw at the end of your turn.
But it isn't a joint one, a shared.
No. We have our own individual decks that we've built, and there are constraints and limitations and what have you. But the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, it's so delightful in the choices and the decisions you have to make. You've got 4 cards in your hand, and you can sit and stare at them for a couple of minutes and think, how the fuck am I going to play these? Because you have to make a decision. Which ones can I play? Or which ones can I afford to play? And if I can't afford to play it, what do I need to pitch to raise the funds in order to play it? It's a spectacular game. And it's called Flesh and Blood because the creators, they want you to be playing this face to face with another person. They don't want any kind of digital version. It's all about getting people into the local game stores, sat across a table from each other, even with COVID and everything going on, and having people playing in game stores the way collectible card games have been played over the years. Magic's going the way of the digital. At some point it will. They're still churning out physical product, but I see that going digital over the coming years. But it's a terrific game. I just thought I wanted to put it out there and say, yeah, Flesh and Blood. If you want to get involved, you can go and buy it. You can order it online. You can once the LGSs are back open again, you'll be able to go into stores and play. Play the game, get into a little tournament, maybe win something, get some prize packs, maybe get a playmat or whatever. No, it's good fun. Good fun.
Are you still rocking your virtual? What was it now? Rick and Morty gig.
The D&D. No, we moved on from that months ago. We're playing proper D&D 5th edition now.
I think you may have told me that, yeah.
Yeah. We're playing. We've had some challenges over the last couple of weeks through there's people moving house, etc. So we've not been as regular as we have been in the past. However, I'm on it tonight, mate. I'm on it tonight. We're having it. Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to that. I still enjoy that very much. It's my outlet. It's my way of surrounding me with people who I know and love, and just having fun, which is what D&D is all about.
Certainly is. And every now and again screwing someone over.
Well, if you're playing to character and you're that type of character, there will be an element of screwing over. But I'm very much a I don't know, chaotic neutral. That's not loud, is it?
Did I ever tell you that I have bust out the D&D alignment chart on work calls in the past, or sort of like extracurricular work calls in the evening when we're doing like a quiz or something like that? I bust it out on a screen share, being like, let's all discuss where we think we live.
Well, I'm very honourable and true and righteous. I'm a paladin, so I guess that the trait on my character is he has no kind of he has no social gait. So he just says stuff. He just says stuff to people that other people would probably think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I remember the first encounter. There was we were in a bar and a woman came up to me and started talking to me, and I basically said, "Are you trying to have sex with me?" I said that might not be a good idea because I'm Dragonborn and I may break you.
Playing to character
So think Worf meets Data. I'm that kind of character. Best intentions, but I've got no quality gate when it comes to what comes out of my mouth.
Awesome.
Anything else from a gaming perspective? Probably not. Probably not. My time on my last few weeks have been dedicated. So everyone's out there buying new consoles, and it's great. I love seeing all the photos with the pets, etc. And it's always a great thing to see. And I was just hidden away in the background, having gone down a rabbit hole of thinking over the years, yeah, a 3D printer would be a cool thing to have. And then you reach a point where you think, I'm buying a 3D printer. And then it turns up. And then you go, I'm going to build a 3D printer.
You have to build these things.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, the one I got, I know... Thinking about historic 3D printers, you literally had all of the parts and you had to put it together from scratch. The ones you can get now, a lot of them are pretty much there, and you're just bolting the frame together and attaching bits and bobs. But it's been an amazing learning experience, and I'll get this right now because so many people get it wrong. It's been a it's been a steep learning curve, okay, which means I've had to learn things very quickly, okay. Not necessarily difficult, but quick. You need to learn things. I think that 3D printing is still nowhere near the stage where it becomes a mass market product. It's trying its hardest, but there's so much that you can do. So to give you an example, right, so out of the box, I build the printer, switch it on, and I print something, and it looks alright. But I think, oh, well, it could be better. And you start fiddling and tinkering. And you can print upgrades for your machine with your 3D printer. So I'm upgrading my 3D printer with my 3D printer, buying bed supports and cable mounts, etc., etc. And then you go down the rabbit hole of, right, well, is that bed perfectly level? Am I getting... I'll start talking in a language which doesn't mean anything to people other than 3D printers. So you're thinking about your first layer's got to be right. Got to get the right squish on your material. Make sure you get good bed adhesion. You make sure you're not over extruding or under extruding.
God, can I ask some
temperatures? You've got a temperature of the hot end, which is the end that the material comes out of. You've got the temperature of the bed, and all of these things can influence and impact the quality of your print. And I've only just scratched the surface. So when I talk about an accelerated learning curve, that's what I've had to throw myself at. Particularly when I managed to knacker up my main board. Don't ask me how. I managed to knacker my main board up, so I've had to replace, and I did this all myself. I gutted the machine, took the main board out, swapped it over, put the new main board in, which is an upgraded main board. Then I had to compile a firmware. I had to install, what's it called now? Visual Studio Code.
Ooh, look at you, little nerd.
So yeah, I've gone completely full nerd when it comes to 3D printing, and I'm still at the stage where I'm continually trying to dial my settings in, because unfortunately for me, I am a completer finisher. I am a perfectionist. Things have got to be right, and to most people, they'd print something and go, "Oh well, that looks fine," but no, it's not good enough for me. It's not good enough because I know it's not right. So I'm in this kind of cycle of obsession at the moment around getting things right. Or maybe I should just sit back and go, well, you know what? It's great what it does. It's an amazing bit of kit. I love it. I absolutely love it. I should probably talk about what I enjoy about it. The fact that you can take there's sites out there. Thingiverse is the primary place people go to. There's like 3.5 million different things that you can print as of right now. And
how much filth?
You can get, you can get floppy cocks and you can get dildos and what have you. But I'm not in it for that right now. no. So I said right now.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just a wealth of amazing things that you can print. It's just ridiculous. But I've just been printing like upgrades. A lot of them cosmetic, just enhancing the look of my printer. I don't know why.
Can I ask? I'm scratching my head here. Can I ask some real obvious questions to somebody who?
Please,
okay.
please, yeah.
What is it a laser, or just essentially something squirt out of a funnel and start to build shape?
Yeah. So the filament is on a roll. Okay. So you've normally got your roll mounted on a rack near your printer. So once the filament passes through an extruder, it goes through the tube, which feeds into the hot end. So the hot end is where the magic happens. So you've got this solid piece of material. I use PLA, which is polylactic acid. It's biodegradable. It's basically food. It's food, for want of a better phrase, and it goes to the hot end. Hot end heats it and melts it, and then the whole brain of the thing basically says, right, well, we're going to move your X, Y, and your Z axis, and it knows exactly where to put it because you've run your design through what's called a slicer. So a slicer is a piece of software which basically slices the model into layers. So the printer will print things at a layer at a time, and it builds up and up and up and up and up, and eventually you'll end up with a 3D item.
So from a production point of view, your size limit is the swing of that arm, of the hot end.
So the hot end sits on an X and a Y axis, and that area for my printer is 235 centimeters. So I've got 235 along the X, I've got 235 on the Y, and then the Z is the height. So the Z-axis, so in theory, with my printer, the Z-axis moves up and down.
Got ya.
So it does a layer, and then it notches down 0.2 of a millimeter, and then prints the next layer. And you could you can actually do it in much higher fidelity than that. You could have it like 0.1 mil, but 0.2 is fine. You've got to find a balance between quality and speed.
So is it like icing a cake where you'd have to decide how much of a colour of something runs through the back in order to actually then have a different colour coming out?
Yeah, so there's advanced things you can do where you can stop a print at a certain point, change the filament to a different colour. You can even buy rainbow coloured filament. So there's some really crazy and wild stuff out there. But for just a basic print, you just use one colour, and you set it away, and it prints, and it may take days.
So
depending on what you're printing.
So it's not zipping around at crazy speed.
Well, it does zip around at a fair clip, but if you think about this 0.2 millimeter is for each layer, you know, I think the longest thing I've ever printed was about 7 or 8 hours. And that was an upgrade for my printer.
Is it quiet?
It is. Now I've heard some. You go online and look at some YouTube footage of early printers, and they crank out a fucking hell of a noise. The loudest thing about my printer is the fans. That's all you can hear is the fans. The actual printer and the way the extruder moves across the gantry of the X and the Y axis, that's virtually silent. It's a silent gear.
Is it safe to leave unoccupied?
Well, nothing's safe to leave unoccupied, mate. You and I aren't safe to leave unoccupied. But I bought a little Wi-Fi IP camera, printed a mount for it. I've mounted that onto the printer itself, so I can remotely monitor a print from anywhere on my phone, and in theory, then I could hook it up to I could buy a smart plug. So if the print failed for any reason, I'd be able to see it remotely that it was failing, and then I'd be able to manually switch it off from wherever I want. But then you go down the whole road of Octoprint, and you can you set up a Raspberry Pi, you install Octoprint, and it does a lot of things for you with the monitoring and remote. You can remotely start a print off. Honestly, it's a fucking rabbit hole and a half, mate. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's the techiest, most geekiest thing I've ever done, and I've kind of been forced to embrace it and get involved in it. And it's not actually as scary as one would think. However, coming back to my original point, this isn't an out of the box solution yet. So this is why I still think 3D printing sits in a hobbyist's niche as opposed to being a mass market product.
So if you're downloading an item, okay, a single item, have people gone and compiled that these are the items you would need to build individually to then connect them together to form this?
Yeah, so if you go on Thingiverse, you'll be presented with a model, an STL file or a bundle of STL files. They will indicate, they'll give you an idea of how they've printed it in terms of the thickness, the infill percentage, because Infill's interesting because you need to balance the speed versus the structural integrity of the thing. So if you just built something that was solid, let's keep it simple. Let's talk about a 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter cube. If you fill that, if you give that 100% infill, you're going to have a thick block of plastic, and it's going to take forever to print because it's having to do, let's say, 200 layers or 500 layers across the board. So where infill becomes interesting is, right, so I'll set it at 15% infill and I can control what type of infill pattern it is. So it's extruding a lot less plastic, it's using a lot less material. There's a load of space within it that I'm not going to see because it's got outer walls, yet it's still structurally sound. And it's printed a lot quicker because it's using less material.
Interesting. Wow.
What's your next question? I'm here all day.
What the fuck are you buying one of them for?
For funsies. For funsies. And I
mean, is it an expensive hobby? It feels like it should be.
So, the machine I bought, I paid £300 for. Now, I've probably ordered I went big in terms of the best I could afford to buy. You can buy a Creality 3D Acura 3. No, sorry, an Ender 3. Getting my things mixed up. You could buy an Ender 3 for about 150 quid. Yeah. So you could argue that barrier of entry is pretty low. You could spend 150 quid on a weekend out on the lash. You know. I've got an Ender 5 Pro, which has got a bigger build space, and it handles the XYZ axis a little differently. But you know, I'm not sitting here saying, well, my Ender 5 Pro is better than an Ender 3, because I've seen results from an Ender 3 and they look pretty fucking spectacular. And this comes back to my earlier point around the fact that my machine now is going to be completely different to anyone else's because of the amount of parts I've bought, and I've put a new board in, and I've done this and that, and tweaked this and tweaked that. I will have completely different settings to the next person. So I'm not saying, oh, the Ender 5 is the best, and that's a hill I'm going to die on. I'm saying, well, cool, I've got an Ender 5, and I'm doing this, that, and the other with it. You've got an Ender 3, and you're doing this, that, and the other. Good for you. That looks cool, mate.
Stop being a child.
It's because I'm an adult, and I'm not a child. Don't be a child. That's the message. Don't be a child when it comes to the allegiance you have to this inanimate object. Christ on a bike, people. Yeah. So 3D printing, it's fun.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So my project, I've got all these ideas around projects I'm going to work on, and I need to get out of this mentality I've got at the moment. Is that as soon as I put a spool on of a certain colour, I have to use it all. I don't. I can change it any time I want. Because I'm thinking about, oh, well, I want to do that. I want to make a nice pen holder, and the missus will like, I'll get her a nice planter for succulents, etc. I'm thinking, well, I can't do that until I use this colour up because she's going to want a different colour. I'll just fucking change. I'll just change the colour. I'll just change it. It's easy. I need to get out of that.
And then when you take that spool out, do you have to kind of like almost like rinse it through with water to get all the colour out of the mechanism? No,
you just feed the next one through and set it to extrude until the colour changes. It's fine. It's fine. It's fucking fun. It's fun. It's interesting as hell, and like I say, it's the geekiest thing I've ever done. But it's amazing. I'm having such a fun time. But it's brought me so much headache and stress as well, just around just getting things right and perfect. You know, upgrading the bed from the standard mat you get with the printer out the box to upgrading that to a glass bed, and etc. etc. There's so many things you could do, mate. So many things.
I was trying to think if you could create a miniature, as in your Warhammer miniatures.
What, like something like that?
Check it out. That's awesome.
Something like that.
That's awesome.
So I'm actually I'm actually printing my own. I'm in the process of printing my own board game at the moment. Because people are going, oh yeah, it's going to be printed inserts and whatever. So no, fuck it. I'm going to print my own game.
Yeah.
So there's a game that's on Thingiverse at the moment called Pocket Tactics, and it's a hex-based game, very very simple rules, and I could just print everything in one colour and it would be fine, but no. Each faction's got to have its own colour, and if I'm printing a hill, it's got to be green, and if I'm printing a forest tile, that needs to be a dark green, and if I'm printing water, that needs to be blue. So I'm kind of making a rod for my own back here, but I want to print this game and play it.
That's a really cool way of using it. I like that.
Yeah, Pocket Tactics. There are older versions of it available on Thingiverse. I purchased the latest version from a site. There's a current expansion on Kickstarter at the moment. And this is what else is really cool. So I've kind of blinkered myself when I look on Kickstarter. I spend too much time on there anyway. You know, the fact that I'm a super backer, right? That's not something to be proud of, my friend. Okay. You have to back a lot of projects to be a super backer, but I am a super backer. But I've kind of blinkered myself and ignored all these 3D printable files that go on Kickstarter all the time. Whereas now I'm almost actively looking for them.
Oh gosh, people are being able to make a profit by doing the design and software elements.
Yeah, so people will sell miniatures and terrain are very 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 popular. I'm not interested in that unless it's something that fits a game that I've already got. If there's an actual game baked into it as well, which basically said, right, here's a game and it's fully 3D printable, yeah, I'm all about that. All about it.
No more Amazon boxes for you.
No, mate. There'll always be Amazon boxes. Always. Yeah, me and Jeff Bezos like that. We're like that. Oh, so there you go. I've kind of spent myself there with talks of 3D printing. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has in the comments. Assuming there's comments, it's normally there's a podcast. It's always a good one.
Yeah.
Never gets old.
I'll preempt a few of them and just ask when will you do a cock and balls?
Let's see how lockdown goes.
All right. Okay. There's a Christmas present for you.
Absolutely. So I've run out of things to talk about, my friend.
Oh dear. Dear, oh dear. It's almost like we should start thinking about wrapping this show up.
Yeah, why not, man? What's the what are your plans for the next few weeks, the run up to Christmas? Got anything special lined up?
Not. I'm just looking up. Actually, as it happens, I've got tickets to a gig on Saturday that is happening. I think it's happening in Islington, but obviously I wasn't going to the gig, which you could get tickets for, and then there was lots of social distance elements to it. But they were also doing a cheaper ticket, obviously, for a virtual audience member, and they've got a multicam setup. It is the Blag, and we will see how that plays out. But I will be seeing. So the one hole in my going to see live music from my teens tapestry is Pop Will Eat Itself.
Is it the Poppies?
The Poppies are doing something on Saturday. Yeah, I think it was like 11-12 quid for the ticket, and they're doing a 30-minute version of This Is This. And then some new songs, and then some bangers.
Have they got? Is the original lineup there? They've still got Clint Mansell.
I think you'd have thought so. I know that Krabby's still about, and I think the drummer that they had for a time, and so I went down and I sort of looked at some of their gigs from the past couple of years.
Mm.
We'll see. Expectations have been tempered. I'm glad I didn't make the effort to go down to Islington.
Oh, that's glorious, mate. That's glorious.
But get on that, people.
My taste in music's taken a bit of a left turn the last week or so. So I was listening to Radio 2. That's a staple in the household here. That and Cheesy FM. There's always a battle. Cheesy FM doesn't get switched on Saturday night because they push it a little too far. It's not the best, but any other time. Anyway, I digress. So listening to Radio 2, and I heard this song. I was listening to it, and the first thing I noticed was that this woman sounds like Karen Carpenter.
Oh, yeah.
And then I thought, hang on, I recognise the words to this song. Oh, it's Reach by S Club 7. But it's beautiful.
Was it sung by Karen Carpenter?
It's Karen Carpenter singing. How's this possible? She's dead. It's not. It's a singer called Harriet. And she's a fucking dead ringer sound-alike of Karen Carpenter. Now, whether that's deliberate or not, I've no idea. But then I said, Alexa, play songs by Harriet. And
you're welcome, by the way, listeners.
Yeah, no worries. No, that's what I'm doing. Alexa or computer, whatever you've got, play songs by Harriet. She's amazing. I love her. She's brilliant. She's got such a beautiful voice. Beautiful. What a rock and roll lifestyle I lead. Growing up listening to all that crazy fucking shit, and now I'm embracing my dotage with some nice, easy listening, soothing sounds of the beautiful Karen Carpenter sounded like Harriet.
Outstanding.
Yes. You've been listening to Radio 2.
No, you're not. You've been listening to Midlife Gamer. If you want a little bit more Midlife Gamer, go to midlifegamer.net. That will forward you to the Facebook group because that's where the action is. You can you hit the join button. You read what it says. You pay attention. You go that. It's not even a mile. Yeah, you just go that extra few clicks just to prove that. You know what I mean, you have the capability of forethought.
Yes,
which generally means less dicks.
Yeah, we still let the odd child in, but they don't normally make themselves shown until consoles get released. But we have ways and means of weeding those people out.
We sure do. You can catch us all on Twitter. The main feed is at MidlifeGamerNet. Darren's over there at Uncle_Fistum. My bad self sat here at MantisMatt. I haven't done any twitching for a long time. I've been doing a lot of watching or twitching. I like the experience from a viewer point of view. There's this concept of like earning some kind of virtual currency for individual channels because you watch them and then you can go and spend them in other channels. You can do something called a raid.
Oh yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah, where I think you pay some of your earned things to encourage everybody to go and bombard another channel. I guess if someone's doing a live stream
in a positive way.
Oh, one would like to think so. One would like to think so. But other than that, tell you what you can do. You can go and leave us a review on iTunes. And I did something the other day. I've not done for a long old time. I used to go and I think to myself, right, what are the key storefronts I need to check out for hot reviews? Yeah, so by default, United Kingdom, I'd go and check over in the States. Yeah, I'd take a look at our subscription levels. I go, we're peaking over there in New Zealand. Go and check the New Zealand store. I'd never told you, but about a year ago, someone got in touch and went, brilliant service here, we'll do it all for you for like $5 a month. I thought, dude, you're about 9 years too late. I'd have jumped on that. But I did find myself jumping across to the store in the US, and we have a review from August this year for a chap called Choker23. Thank you very much. We have a diehard fan from Colorado.
Oh, fantastic! Any standout box quotes we can pull out of that review?
Ooh, let's have a look. Here we go. Terrific gaming, digital and analog conversations, along with insights about their joys and disappointments in life. That sounds about right.
Yes, life is a disappointment, filled with or spattered with joy, like a painter's radio.
In it.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. We have another show in the can. I'm not going to tell you when we're going to do another show. You guys are patient enough. If you want regular content, watch the news. But it's depressing. At least I'd like to think we bring a little light into your life once in a while. So we'll leave you to it. Go balls deep. Be wonderful to each other, and just be kind. And join us next time when we bring you another exciting episode of the Midlife Gamer podcast. Say goodbye, Matthew.
Take care, everyone.
Now, listen, I'm gonna tip you up with an interesting and fun Twitter account to follow. Okay. Now, listeners may or may not be aware of this, but I dropped on it a little while ago, and I've been enjoying following them for some time now, and it's called Fesshole. At Fesshole. Fesshole. So the way... The whole thing with this is you can send an anonymous confession to their site and they will tweet it. And there's some awesome stuff on here. Awesome. You know?
Just gave my 3-year-old daughter a custard cream as a treat. She asked me for more. I said no because 1 is enough. I scoffed 6 in the kitchen when she wasn't looking.
This is brilliant. Okay, I'm gonna pick some choice ones out. I should have pre-selected these. Okay.
I manage a very successful comedian. I negotiated a very lucrative podcast contract for them. Every week I tell them it was a great show. I haven't listened to one.
Now, you'd question whether some of these are actually true, but you know what? I'm inclined to take a flyer and say yes. This is fine. Since being made to work from home, I have a daily race to run downstairs naked with a hard-on. Current time to beat is 1.9 seconds. I really should have pre-prepared this. Okay. This one. Okay, you get some dark stuff on here as well. Had a one-night stand during the festive season. She kept harassing me on social media afterwards. I had to block her. Found out today she's died of cervical cancer. I'm feeling so relieved my wife won't find out now. Harsh but true. That is dark. That is dark.
When I was 11, I wanted a baby sister, so I took a pin and carefully pierced each condom in my dad's drawer. 10 months later, I got a shitty baby brother.
I have a 6-second long fart saved on my phone. No one can beat it, but I'm sure with a bit of luck and right conditions, I could hit 9 seconds.
If I wipe my arse when doing a jobby and the paper is clean, I leave it on top of the cistern and use it next time. If it's clean again, I flush it. Every penny is a prisoner. I'm 46 and live alone.
Was having a quick wank and I heard my wife approaching. Panicked, hid my phone just before she walked in, but I still had my boner in my hand. She looked at me, then looked at the TV, prompting me to also look. To my horror, there was a severely disabled lady on. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, here's a gaming related one. Convinced my dad to buy my sister a Mega Drive for Christmas and me a Super Nintendo. She played it once. Genius move. Still makes me happy thinking about it.
Good work.
Oh god. My wife doesn't know I'm sleeping with her father. It started as a way of getting his tuna sandwich recipe, but I guess I'm in a guise.
Well,
I'd question. Oh,
that escalated quickly.
Oh, I get escorts to come to my house and then ask them to do the ironing. I could get a regular person to do it, but this is so much more fun. And again, I would question that one. My girlfriend, I'm reading this cold, mate. Okay, my girlfriend obtained a hand-me-down PC from her dad. I found some proprietary digital camera folder on the C drive, several high-definition shots of her stepmom sucking off her dad in a hot tub in Tenerife. I deleted them and never said a word. I think you were right to do that. I brush my teeth while sat on the loo. Sometimes the cat jumps up for a cuddle as well. I call it triple tasking. Oh my god. Fesshole.
Fesshole indeed.
Bringing light into my life. My God.
Sorry, this is going to keep me going for days.
Oh dear.
There's one here that I've done.
Yeah, I was going to say, you end up stumbling one, you think, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm having a piss, I flush the toilet early, then it's a way to see if I can stop peeing before the flush ends.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's probably an opportunity, if you're still listening, to think about submitting your fess holes to Midlife Gamer, but we want gaming related fess holes. We can guarantee anonymity, but just slide into one of our DMs and tell us, and we'll read them out on the. If you're happy to have them read out on the show, we will have a Midlife Gamer fess hole segment as and when we receive these confessions.
You never know, we might have a festive fess hole.
I've always got a festive fess hole, mate. So, there you go. Laters, betas.